Hey guys, it's Chen again from Pendit, and today I'm at home again, and in this video I'll be going over the Lecai Acrylic, or the original Lecai Acrylic, the predecessor to the Moonman M2, whose video you should have seen by now. Alright, it's an eyedropper pen that is pretty cheap. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's like about 11 bucks, which is pretty nice for what it is. It's a copy of the Franklin Christoph, which I cannot afford, the Franklin Christoph Model 66 Pocket, which I cannot afford, so I just got this. It works well. It has a standard number 5 nib, which can be replaced. And I've had luck with Knox nibs, just not this nib, and you'll see why in the writing sample. I'm just going to go over the pen from top to bottom and then to writing sample. Okay. The cap is on the top of the cap. It's slightly pointed, which I really like the feeling. And then there's about like 6 or 7 millimeters of transparent acrylic, which then transitions into the nib window, which is completely transparent, and then it goes to the frosted section with the threads that actually covers the, what do you call it, the grip or the section of the pen itself. After that, there's a small step down, a very small step down, and then about maybe 5 or 6 centimeters of an ink window, and then about maybe a centimeter of the end finial, which is just like the one of the cap. The pen screws off, okay, pretty nicely, and it does post securely. There is no o-ring on this side, but it's okay. There's an o-ring on either other side of the pen, which does not let ink fall out of this. This pen hasn't leaked on me in the bag as much or in my pocket at all, but ink does seem to get in the ink window, and that's just because of the burping issues that eyedroppers tend to have. Like, if you don't know what burping for eyedroppers is, I'm just going to go over it real quick. The eyedropper, if you keep using it, it has a lot of air in it, and your hand warms up the air in it, and warm air expands and then gushes out ink through the only open part of the pen, which is the section on the nib, which is the feed in the nib, and that's why it burps often. But if you just wipe it off, you'll be fine. What I tend to do is, once I fill this thing completely with ink and close it off, I don't open it till the ink is completely over, or I want to switch out the ink. The nib is very simple, just like the rest of the pen, but it doesn't perform well. I mean, it did in the starting, maybe for like a day, and then I had to switch it out, and then I moved this nib in another pen, and when I moved it back, it just wasn't the same. Right now, this is filled in Monteverde Blue Black, and I'll show you how this guy writes in the writing sample right now, and I'll see you guys soon. Alrighty, welcome to the writing sample of, I'm just going to call this guy the Lecai Acrylic. Pretty sure there's a real name for it, but it's just Lecai Acrylic. This is the medium nib, and today's ink is Monteverde Blue Black. Sorry. This is what the ink looks like, and here is against Lamy Blue Black as well as Pilot Blue Black. It's a much blacker version of the Lamy Blue Black, which is, I feel, a true blue black, and the Pilot Blue Black is a little more blue. It is permanent though. The Pilot Blue Black is permanent. This is not permanent, but it is very wet, and it does take a while to dry. This is the writing sample. Doesn't escape, it's actually pretty wet. I might be making a mistake and holding it like this to warm up the ink, because it is actually putting down quite a bit of ink. Flex wise, it is a rather flexy nib because it's so thin, and it does pretty well. It springs back rather fast. On the wetness scale, right now it's pretty wet. Overall, you wouldn't find it as wet it is right now. On the up and down stroke, obviously it's going to be super juicy. As for signatures, again, as long as you hold the nib straight down with these pens, you're going to get a pretty decent signature, because if you actually turn it, then you're actually not even letting the inside of the tine, so you're not even letting the slit touch the page. Alright, that was the writing sample for the Lecai Acrylic. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, thanks guys, that's it from me for the Lecai Acrylic. I hope you like that. I'll see you guys next time, but until then, stay safe.